Morning, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Love 500 and welcome back to Project Foxy. Today we are going to clean the seats, we're going to do all the bits and pieces, we're going to get the arch liners in, we're going to, I don't know, got quite a bit to do in on this car. A lot of you were glad to see Foxy back. I've asked you how much you think I paid, we will reveal it later. Lots of suggestions, some of them were quite accurate, some of them said should be zero, he should be paying you, if only. But yeah. Let's get into it, let's get on with Project Foxy, let's try and get this car finished and out the door as soon as possible, as it is now, getting on towards the end of June, we need to get it sold. So let's get it finished, let's get it done, let's start, let's do it. Right, I've changed the battery, starts up nice now. I do have a problem, however. The roof doesn't work. There's no power to the roof. You press the button and nothing happens. There's no motor whirring or anything. So I mean, it could be a blown fuse, I don't know what it could be. The boot does work, which I thought maybe the boot won't work either, but the boot does work. I can open and close the boot as normal, so I don't think it's forgotten the position, so I'm going to have to run diagnostics. That was my fear. Well, it was my fear that it was just going to be stuck, but the fact that it's you can't hear the motor at all worries me a little bit. But as I say, it could just be the fact that it's a fuse blown. We'll have to figure out what fuse it is, but I'll run the diagnostics at some point today and see what's happening. Hopefully that will be something simple. I've got to put in the wheel arch, both sides. They've got to go in as well. But yeah, I've given it a pre-wash, citrus pre-wash. I'm not going to go mental. Citrus pre-wash plus a snow foam, dry it off, that'll be it for the time being. Just to get the filth off of it. It was absolutely rotten, years worth of dirt. Awful. Anyway, let's carry on. So I figured the roof out. It was, luckily, all it was where the door had been rehung by the body shop. They hadn't plugged the electrical connection back in the passenger footwell, and obviously the door does affect the roof opening and the boot opening and so on, so they're all connected. So all I did was I plugged that back in and it was fine, so it all opens lovely now. So that was a bit of a weight off my mind. Okay, let's carry on. Right, I've just got it down the drive, just airing it out really, as it's been sitting for a year. I think it's time to get the back panel on. So we need to get all this stuff all back together. There's no need for this to be off now. I'm going to give it a bit of a clean up inside. Seats are going to need to be re-cleaned. I've done the back seat today, but I'm going to have to redo the rest of it as well, I think. Get the door card on. My wife's just sat in it. My wife doesn't drive, but she just sat in it and she couldn't get out, and she's broke the door handle. So I think one of the rods must have come. I can open it from the outside but not the inside, so for some bizarre reason she's just sat in it, got out of it, or tried to get out of it, and the door handle's broken. So I've got to put this one on, but now I've got to take that one off. Great fun. So I've got the panel, the door panel and the rear panel over there, which have been stored out the back of my garage for all that time. I need to get them on. Need to get all that stuff put back in. Yeah, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a clean up down here first, and then get that all back in. So I'm not going to film all that. We'll come back once I've got all that back in. Very hot afternoon. Right, that's all back in. Close that. I bet I'm going to have to do a roof relearn now, because I've disconnected the battery whilst the roof was back, so I'll forget where it is. That's all in. everything in there is all back in and sort of cleaned. So I've still got, I'm going to have to clean the back seats, and I'm going to have to clean the front seats again. Door cards on. I've just got to take that other door card off, and that my wife decided to break. And yeah, figure out why that's not working. And it's all coming together. It's so nice to get all these panels back on, interior panels. So it's not that far off being finished, is it really, this? Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going out for a spin in it, actually, with the roof down. I do like a convertible, I have to say. But I'm not a hairdresser. People shouting at me now. Yeah, I'd like an Abarth convertible, I have to say. Podium blue or a Camperfoda grey. 595C, I would like one. Turismo, preferably. So if anyone's feeling generous and wants to buy me one, yeah. So I need to get that little dent out of that door. Hopefully that will come out all right. I should have actually done that before I put the door card on, just in case I could push it from behind. But hopefully the hot glue or cold glue will get that off anyway. Engine needs cleaning. I'm going to do a decontamination on all the paintwork since it's been sitting around for so long. And I was watching some videos last night of this roof using that Renovo stuff, which apparently is a British product. I didn't know that. What I'm going to try, I'm going to do the little patch thing, and I'm going to clean it. Actually, I'm going to clean it first, do a little patch thing, and then, because if that colour is the same or very, very similar, if it comes up all right when cleaning, I will just colour those little bits in, if the colour's the same. Or if it sticks out like a sore thumb, then I'll have to do the whole thing. But I would rather not, because it's a bit of a palaver. I mean, I saw someone in America, in California, they did. They ended up doing 4 coats. It was on an MX-5, as we would call it in the UK, or a Miata, as they call it in America. And he had a brown roof, I think it was, and he wanted to make it black. And it actually came out really well. Obviously, I'm sticking to the same colour, but I don't know. Depends how similar it is to the colour. I think we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And as I say, I'm going to do that, just get some lacquer on that spoiler as well. So a few bits to do, but hopefully it won't take too long. So we'll be back once I've figured out what's going on with this door. I'll show you what it is, put that back on, and then we'll park it up until sometime next week, I guess. So I spoke to someone on YouTube who's used this stuff before. It's one of like a demo video of how to use it, and he suggested doing it somewhere inconspicuous. So I'm gonna put some on there. He did say to me, well, it's not a paint, it's a dye, so it could look different, but it just looks, to me, it looks completely different. I could do it here, but I think I'm going to do it here, which is well out of the way, and you don't really see that bit unless it's open, so it's not going to make a massive difference. Look how quite delicate these, aren't they? Look, there's a little wire there. I really want to sell it with a warranty. If I sell it with a warranty, it means I've got to get it serviced at a garage again and costing me yet more money, which I don't really want to have to do. I guess it's the chance people take when they buy a convertible, isn't it? But you know what? You know, the worst thing possible that could happen, someone has it and a month later the roof goes. I mean, what do you do? I know it's bought without warranty, it's bought with scene, isn't it? But I don't know, because it was thousands to put a new roof on. Thousands. If the back window breaks, it's thousands. You have to put a new roof, basically. You can't replace the rear window. Or there was. I did want to actually speak to the windscreen guy about it. Next time I see him, I am going to speak to him about it, because apparently you can't just replace the glass. But he seemed to think there may be a way. So I need to have a chat with him. I mean, you never see that glass for sale anywhere, but you know, people generally are selling the entire roof, which would be a cheaper way. But even those they're selling for, you know, big money, and then you've got to try and get it on. Yeah, bit of a nightmare if it goes. So anyway, I'm going to whack a bit on this. I'm going to get a little paintbrush and I'm just going to paint a little bit on this, uncleaned, but I'm just going to put a little bit on there, leave it, and see what happens. But I am going to today. The reason I got the roof down is because I'm going to re-clean these seats. Look at this. I mean, that one's all right, but that one is just covered in paint dust, rubbing down dust. So it needs to be done. I did bend the old door back in at the top, Remember how it was out? I don't think I showed you me doing that. No, I didn't. Just wound the window down, put my foot against the door card, pulled, and it does it. Lovely. I've got to do that on the other car as well. So as far as that's concerned, that's all okay now. Someone did ask me, so I gave you, no I haven't, have I? I haven't given you the figure yet. I'll give you the figure later on in this video. But someone did ask me, can we have a look at the sill underneath? And I will show you that. So I'm going to clean the seats, and then I'm going to get the wheels off and get the arch liner, ascertain as exactly what wheels need tyres. Then tomorrow I'll go out and get the tyres, and I'm going to get these wheels refurbed. I'll get the tyres put on first, and then we'll refurb these. I'm going to do it myself. Right. So believe it or not, that's the wheel cleaned up. Can't get it any more than that. Now that tyre's okay. I've got the arch liner on in there. I've done the bolt up on the bumper. I've cleaned that wheel. Tyre is absolutely fine, so that doesn't need a new tyre. Came to the back. I thought there was an arch liner missing, but it's not. It was in there. As you can see, it's not there now because I've taken it out. I'll show you why I've taken it out, and I will show you why I thought it wasn't in there. So that's the one that I thought it was, but that's actually the other side. So that one's got to be put on as well. This is the one. And I thought, look at all that paint, that's not been masked off. So they've just painted the car without even masking that off. I suppose I should be thankful they masked the wheel off. So I can't leave that on the car. And I'm pretty sure I've got some of these, this side. I think. I know I've sold some, but I think I had quite a few of them. So I just need to go down to the shed at the bottom of the garden and make sure I've got one. Pretty sure I have. Because I can't use that, can I? That's ridiculous. Can you believe that? Can you believe that they've painted that and just left that on like that? Unbelievable. This one has got a decent wheel. I say decent, it's the wheel is not damaged apart from the scratches and the scuffs and whatever, but this one needs a new tyre. As you can see, this is the one that's down to the cord. I think I showed you that one before. So that's so far only one tyre, and I'm pretty certain the other three need doing, the other two need doing as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a spare wheel on the other side, on the rear, which I will double check, but I think is okay. But again, we'll need a refurbish, and then I can get it up on stands and take the other two off and go down in the morning and get some new tyres on those. But let's go down the shed and see what I've got, and hopefully we've got one to replace this. Right, luckily I had one, which is now on. I actually had 2 or 3 of them, which is good. So I think I might as well throw away the other one. There we go, got a nice one on there now. Now this wheel was one that was a bit of a bodge up. I used a silver paint on it, which is not shiny at all, and I must have rushed this because it's absolute crap. Every little dig in it you can see, and the paint finish is awful. Even that's had lacquer on it, believe it or not. I don't know what lacquer I used, but it's absolute rubbish. So it's got a really good tyre on it. I mean, there is a bit of a chunk out the wheel just there, but it'll do for this. So I'm going to make all the, I'm going to try and fill that actually if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to. I've got some wheel filler, alloy filler. I will give it a go, and I'm going to rub these down so within an inch of their life. May have to put a bit of filler in, but these are all going to be black, these wheels, shiny black. But that's a good tyre. So we've got 2 good tyres now. So we'll probably only have to get 2 tyres. But that's good that we've got 2. Different wheels, of course, because we've still got that dodgy one in the garage, which I will obviously use at some point, but I don't need to get a tyre for it now. Right, so that's this side done. As far as, so we've got a little bit of rust on that wing down there, the little edge. I'm going to have to touch that up at some point. Again, you know, that's all the titivation once it's MOT'd and what have you, so we'll do that afterwards. But we'll get it down back on the ground, tighten the wheels up, and then we'll go on the other side. So this must obviously be, I don't know why I didn't put that one back on. Oh, it is on. It is on. Oh, that must have been a spare one from somewhere else then. That's strange. Yeah, that one's on as well. Oh, that's good. Okay, it's just the tyres I've got to sort out. I did actually, when I was getting the other wheel arch liner out of the garage, out the shed down the bottom of the garden, I noticed that there's a wheel at the back of the garage as well. An alloy, the same as this. I don't know what it's like. See, I thought one of these was the ones that's got the warped wheel, and I thought it was this car, but it could possibly be that one down the bottom, which has actually got potentially a good tyre on it, but a knackered wheel. So we might as well, I was keeping it as just possibly, I don't know. Let's get it out and have a look at it. It's warm. Right, this is the wheel from the garage. As you can see, it's a good wheel, and it's got a lovely tyre until you turn it around the other way. Ow, it fell on my foot. And there we can see all the way around the side is a slit, and there's another slit all the way around here. So this is when it was something was damaged underneath and it was rubbing against it, and that was in the accident. So that's not actually too bad. That could probably be repaired, I reckon. I wonder if there's a bloke I'm following on Facebook who's local, who does wheel refurbishing. I don't know if he does repairs, because that could be hammered straight, couldn't it? Or pushed straight. It seems a shame to throw that away. Oh. Until I just dropped it. It was a good wheel. I can't pick the damn thing up. This is really difficult one-handed. Yeah, I think I just did that. That was alright. I'll sod it, we might as well just get rid of it, mightn't we? I've damaged it now. I don't know. Is it worth... How much is that going to cost to get repaired? Even if it only cost me 40 quid, I can buy a wheel for 40 quid, second-hand wheel. No point, is there? Right. I've checked that tyre. I've taken that wheel off, cleaned that wheel. That tyre is absolutely fine as well. So I actually only need two. That wheel's knackered, so that's going to be thrown away. The other two are fine on the other side, and I need those two. Actually, it's only actually one wheel I need, isn't it? But I'm going to get two. I'm going to get two done. Is that right? Yeah, these two are okay, aren't they? I've forgotten now. I mean, that one is a little bit close. I might actually swap it over, because it's all right in the middle, this, but it's just a little bit close on the edge here. You see it? Right, morning, next day. So today is MOT day on the Abarth, but before the MOT, number plates came at 9:30 last night via Hermes. The number plates are put through the door 9:30 at night. That's a strange time to be delivering. Yeah, I'm going to go down and get these tyres this morning. I've got plenty of time. We'll get those and then we can swap these wheels over. Right, I'm back from the tyre shop. It's actually changed hands. The leader fella, I actually need to throw his business card away. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, so leader fella that I used to deal with, he'd been threatening to sell up for a while. I think he wanted to sell stuff on Amazon. That one, after speaking to him a few months ago, it seemed that's what he wanted to do. He'd been watching videos of people doing it, and I said to him, well, it does look easy, but you know, if it was that easy, you know, the old saying, everyone would be doing it. And I said to him, oh, Lee used to do me 185 55s R15 for £30. He said, well, how's a £35? He said, we've cleared out all his stock and replaced it. He said, we get our tyres from Germany. They don't come from scrap yards, which is, you know, maybe or may not be true. Continental. They got one Continental and one cheap Chinese one. I mean, the Continental, well, that one not so much. The Continental is like a bleeding new tyre. Look at it. So that's a few quid for a tyre. He honoured the price. He said, yeah, we'll do them for 30 quid each. So that's good. They went round them all with water afterwards, spraying around all the seals everywhere to make sure there were no leaks. Which obviously took a bit longer, but it was nice to see them taking that level of care, actually. Yeah, all good. So they're going to run them. I told them I'd probably get somewhere between 20 and 30 tyres a year, which is probably about right. So I'll be back there. Yeah, when I saw him, I thought, oh, he's sold out to somebody else. I bet I don't get the same deal. But they've said we normally charge 35. He said, but we'll honour his price that he gave you. So that's good. So yeah, so I thought what I'll probably not bother doing is there's not much point putting them on the car. I'll get them out and I'll start preparing them for a refurb, and we'll do two at a time. Yes, that's it. Right, so new number plates are on, back and front. Starting to come together. bit of a dodgy day today, so I'm probably going to just do a bit of cleaning on the inside. I might start doing the stereo later. MOT day for the air bath, so I've got to go out again shortly. But oh yeah, I've got to show you this. This is the new fellas for the tyres. They're called GMD tyres. All kinds of new and used tyres. And it says there, GMD tyres is the trade name. Tyres, T-Y-E-R-S. Now I'm assuming that's probably a typo, because they're called GMD tyres. I'm sure that's been pointed out to them again, so I won't point it out. Anyway, that's it. So we'll be back a bit later. Right, next job is to swap this one for this one, the one with the 500C. So this is the one that came off the old door, and this is obviously the one that came on the new door. All that time ago, back in 2021. And I need to swap them over, so I'm going to give this one a clean, get this one off and swap them over. The front's okay, we don't need to do anything with that one, it's just this one. So let's just give this a clean up. We'll start taking the other one off and get this one on. Right, to do this we need to, the window is down, we need to get this out. Do we have to take this off? I can't remember. I think it's easier if we take this off. See if we can get it off from the other end. Oh, sometimes they can be a bit tricky to get off. Let me get, I'm not sure, oh there we go. I'm not sure it actually has to come off, but I think it just makes it easier to get this bit out. So pull that bit out, and then we also need to pull that rubber out as well, carefully, because we do not want to split it. I'm sure that glass could have gone down a bit further. Don't go down any further than that. No, that's as far as it goes. Oh, this one goes down further. Oh, that's weird. I wonder if that's a thing. Because this one's not going down as far. Which might make it difficult for me to get this out. But it's got to come out. One way or the other. Oh no, it's coming. Here we go. There you go. Because that will reveal the screws underneath. Now there is a video. I can't use this. This is broken. It just turns. I'm going to have to get a socket on it. There is a video on how to do this, front and back. When I say front, I mean that one, A-pillar as well. If you want to see that, I'll give you a detailed description how to do it. Click on the link above now, and it will take you there. Pause this video first, and then you can come back. Right, let's just get a socket with a T20. What has happened in the past is I've lost one down there. Lost a screw down there. And it went in the runner. If you remember, I can't remember, it was my wife's friend's daughter's car that I got back, and it had a crunching window, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and it ended up being one of these screws in the runners. It got embedded in the runner. So you need to be quite careful in how you take these out. We do not want to drop it inside the door. And there we go. Right, that's the first one. I have got spare screws, it's just you don't want to... Let's zoom in, shall we? So you can actually see what I'm doing. So yeah, so you can see I've got this here, so it won't, if it does come out, it won't drop down. Oh, feel the heat coming out of that car with the window down. Okay, that's that. And now, move that out of the way. Now it will just come out. He says, oh, we've got to open the door, I think, for that. I haven't done one of these for a while. I think we've got to open the door to do this. Yeah, there we go. And that goes underneath. There you go. So we'll get that one out there. And then this one will push up there, like so. Get it in the right place, which that one has slipped in extremely easy for once. get those screws in. I can do up with these until it gets so tight, and then the screwdriver just turns. I should put that back really, because just in case. I have in the past, when I did cars, if I didn't have a matte one and it needed a matte one, I put a gloss one on. A couple of cars I sold had gloss one side and matte the other. I don't do that now, but that's what I used to do back in the day. Right, I need to get this thing back down, which is easier said than done, especially when that window doesn't go down properly. There we go. Get that into the channel properly and shut that. That should be okay. And then get this bit back on. Now, how does that go? Like that? Or does it go the other side? I'm not sure. Maybe it goes the other side. I can't remember. Yeah, it does. Bash that in. Now, hopefully, that window will now wind up. Fingers crossed. Oh. Okay. Something not right there. It tipped forward, didn't it? Let me get a hammer. I think that's that little clip that's not in the channel properly. I think you have to encourage it into the channel as it goes up. That should do it. That's it. Okay, that'll do the, yeah, I just need to encourage it. Let's put the camera here. And we'll open the door up. And then we can sit on the seat and do it. Bear with me. So, oh, must have turned the ignition off, hang on. Ow! Just shut me feet in the doors. That's not in properly. Is that going to go up properly? Yeah. What on earth was that? It's this bit that's not in properly. Why won't that go in? I think the door card's in the way. Doesn't want to go in. Let's take that off again. Push it in there first. Oh, here we go. There we go. That's it. Yeah, it needed to be fed down. That's why. That should do it. Right, let's try that again. That's better. That's it. Yeah, don't know. Maybe that's where it's supposed to go on the passenger door. I don't know if it's different, but that's it. That's fine now. That's good. Okay. Which way round does it go? That way? Yeah. There we go. Push that on. There we go. Done. I managed to get all that paint off that was on there, and that was on the light as well. Scraped it and used IPA on it. That's actually cracked there, so I may have to replace that. In fact, I will have to replace that because that's probably cracked all the way through. They're different, aren't they? The convertible ones, because they've got a little cutout on the bolts. So I'll have to see if I can get one of those. I probably could always adapt an ordinary one. That one's a little bit on the scratch side as well. I'm not going to replace both of them. I'll replace that one. Anyway, don't worry about that at the moment. I think what we need to do now is start giving it a bit of a clean. So we've done all the seats yesterday. They're all lovely and dry thanks to the sun. I'm going to give all this, because like, it's filthy down here, absolutely rotten. I did the carpets as well, even though they weren't particularly dirty. But door cards all need a good wipe. Well, everywhere in there really needs a good wipe. So, of course, I'm not going to film that. I'm just going to do it. Right, so I've been filming that on time lapse, and from me starting to film to now, where I've got it working with the radio plugged in, powering up, all working, 15 minutes, literally plug and play. So I suppose what I ought to start doing is feeding the cables, like we've got the two USB cables which we've got to feed down. Now one of these is going to be, I'm not sure which one it is, one of these is going to be for the webcam, and I'm not sure if that camera there is probably, it says camera, that's probably the feed for the reversing camera. Now the reversing camera's got to be powered obviously at the back, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to power it at the back for the time being. I'm going to connect it up to here and feed the cable down here, and then we can run it backwards and fit the camera at a later date. Same goes for the webcam. As I say, that will plug into one of the USB sockets. Now, if I remember rightly, when I did Project Aussie, I found it easier to feed them by actually taking the shelf out. If you take the shelf out, you can get your hand up there better, because they're not, I don't know why they make them so short. They're not very long at all, are they? In fact, I think one's shorter than the other, yeah. Never quite sure why one's a little bit shorter than the other. But we don't need any of these. But I think there's something on here. So this is for a subwoofer, if you've got a subwoofer. But there, I think on that one is that one, which I believe is the microphone for the Bluetooth. So all of those cables have to go connect on just to make the loom a bit more bulky. For that's it. So that's what your mic plugs into for your Bluetooth. That's a bit annoying, that. I don't know why they have to do that on the same as those, because how many people actually have amps? Very few, I would suggest. Now this stereo is the entry-level model. It is the base model. However, as far as I can see, there might be less memory on this one. I can't remember now, so I have had it a little while. But if you watch Project Aussie, if you didn't, why not? And if you want to look at it now, you can click on the link above and you can go to Project Aussie. And I'll also put that in at the end of the video as well. But this has everything that Project Aussie's one did except RDS. Now why they've left RDS out on it, I don't know. I can't remember what the price difference was. It wasn't massive, maybe 30 quid, something like that. It just seems a bit daft not to have RDS. So it's not going to tell you what radio station it is you're listening to, or your tracks, of course. But everything else, it's got, none of these for some reason have got DAB for some bizarre reason. You can have DAB, but you have to use DAB Plus, which is using an app. So I'm not going to bother doing that on this one, and I don't think Sean bothered doing it on his one either. We did talk about it, but neither of us did it in the end. The brake cable here, so that, to get around that, you connect that to an earth somewhere, any earth. Again, we thought it meant to a live, but apparently it's not. It goes to an earth. So that's meant to be so you can only watch videos when the handbrake's up. So you connect it to tell it that the handbrake's up. I thought it would have gone to a live, but apparently no, it doesn't. It goes to an earth. Most of the others are antennas. Key 1 and key 2 we don't need because they are for steering wheel controls, and this car hasn't got them. So we don't need to worry about that. We got the CAN bus box here. Now, as I found out on Project Aussie, I thought we don't need the CAN bus box because we're not using the steering controls. But if you unplug it, the stereo doesn't power up. So we can't, so we have to leave it in. So once I've got a bit like I said to Sean, once you've got everything connected as you want it, get some teaser tape, tape them all up, and then it'll make it a lot easier to push it all back in. Got to take this out, so we'll take this out. And if you remember, we have that is a hinge which allows you to get to the knobs that are behind here. So we leave the vents in, it's just the front fascia bit that we take off, which is good, which I discovered last time. So we've still got the vents behind. We don't have control over left and right on the vents, but we do have control over open and close once this is off, once this cream bit's off. So we'll carry on. We'll do that, and yeah, we'll take that tray out and feed the cables down, and then we'll plug the microphone in. We'll sit the mic up here and so on. I don't know where I'm going to put the mic actually. I might position it somewhere else on this one. Don't know. We'll see. Anyway, let's get on with it. Okay, so a few days has passed and we put a new battery in this car because whilst I was doing this, I had the battery connected. I was on and off with the stereo. Of course, the DRLs are on when you've got the ignition on. So I ran the battery down. It wasn't a brilliant battery, and it wasn't actually the right battery. It was a non-stop start battery. And this has obviously got a stop start, which is depicted just there. Although it is coming up on the dash, which I thought was just a battery issue, and it may be an error I can reset, but it is actually coming up start, stop, disconnected, a couple of other bits as well. So there is something that's causing a problem of sorts. I say, hopefully I'll plug it in and we'll get to the bottom of that. I just thought it was the battery. I've put a new battery in and it's still doing it, a brand new battery, correct battery. So I don't really know what the issue is with that, but another day for that. What we're going to do now, we're going to continue. So where we last left you, so I've run the microphone cable. The USBs are down there. I've also I had this doesn't come with it, but you can buy these from AliExpress. Now that is actually where I got these from. So I bought a couple of these probably a couple of years ago, not realizing that they are specifically to plug into an Android head unit. And all it is on the end of it is a USB connection. So you use one of your trailing USB cables and it works. So if I show you, I'll turn the stereo on and then I'll come back to it and show you. First of all, I had some questions as I couldn't get it to work, and I'll show you what I did to get it to work. So I went to the apps setting. So you go to home, you click on apps, and then on the last screen you've got this one, which is a little picture of a video camera. So I press that and it launches car driving video recorder, USB video recorder for Android, and it comes up and says no device found, so, and then quits. So I'm not quite sure what that is, but it's not that. And I spoke to Sean, who Project Aussie, how he got his to work, and he seemed to think it had just worked, and he mentioned something called traffic safety, which is there. So I had a fiddle around, and I went to the settings, and you know what, I can't even remember how I did it now. Where was it? It was no, it wasn't that. It was File Manager. In File Manager, you got USB 1, USB 2, and when you scroll down, there was a thing there somewhere for camera. There you go, camera. No, that's a JPEG. It's in there somewhere. It's within those settings somewhere, probably under USB, I imagine. An Android, I think it was, yeah. So it's in there somewhere. And then what that does is that it then installs. So if we click on the home button, back to apps, it installs that traffic safety. So if we launch that, it immediately shows the camera's up here. So it's showing the sky at the moment. So if I sort of move it around, you can see the garage and so on. So I've got to stick that up onto the windscreen, like so, somehow. Just got to run the cable. So this has got an SD card slot in it, just there, a micro SD card. So you can record to that. I need to look at the instructions on the actual camera, or you can, I think you can set it up to record onto a USB, a micro SD card that you put in there as well. I think you can set it up either way. That is all something that I need to sort out. There is a little icon there, so that whether that's settings, yeah, so there's the setups there. So if you press that little thing up there, it gives you all the settings, so you can choose to record it with sound, if that microphone's got sound. I'm not sure if it has. Presumably, I don't know, resolution, locking files, taking still pictures, and probably settings. We'll come back into that once it's all installed on another video, just to go through it. But that's it, nice and easy. So that's the app to use for that, and of course you can view it on your screen. The next thing I am going to do, I'm going to run the wires for the camera. I'm going to give the windscreen a bit of a clean up there. I'm going to run the wires for the camera. I'm going to stick the camera up here somewhere, and I'm also going to run the microphone cable and stick the microphone up here somewhere. And then we are gonna, I've got the cable for the rear view camera, parking camera, and I need to connect the wires in the back of the car, and then I'm just going to plug it in to make sure it works before I drill a hole in the bumper, because I'm not sure at the moment whether to put it in the top part of the bumper or the bottom part of the bumper. I think the top. And I have installed these before, and I think down here is too low. Down there's too low, and it faces downwards, so you've got to put it in here somewhere. So obviously in the middle, so we'll put it sort of roughly there. But before I do that, what I want to do is get it wired up and make sure it works. Now when you do that, obviously on a convertible there's not an awful lot of room to work. So you basically connect it to the reversing light on the rear light and the earth on the rear light, and then so when you put the car in reverse, it activates the camera. We'll come to that in a minute, but at the moment, as I say, I'm just going to run the cable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap into the wires on here. I'll come back, show you what I've done, just in case you want to do it, and you can see which wires you need to tap into and how to do it. And then we'll switch it on and we'll test it. So I will be back very shortly. Right, so what I'm doing while I'm doing this, I'll just keep coming in and showing you exactly what I'm doing. So I'll take the back light out, as you can see, filthy dirty, the aperture. We'll clean that at another time. I've taken off the plastic panel, because we will be running a wire to the back of the battery, so we need to get to that. So I've pushed the grommet through, I've separated the wires so we can actually join here. So rather than joining to the back of the rubber grommet, i.e. so that will be there, that'll be extra wires coming through the grommet, rather than doing it that way, it's neater to join to them there. You join into the same wire, but you're doing it further back, so that will all be pushed behind the carpet, all out of the way, not a problem. Now just to show you which wires we need to tap into, so as you can see there, that second one in, that is grey and green wire, that is the live for your reversing light. This is on a Series 3 car, so it's different on a Series 4 car, but on a Series 3 car, that grey and green wire is your power wire for your reversing light. So when you put the car into reverse, it sends power through that cable to the reversing light, which then illuminates your reversing light. So you're going to tap into that for the live on your reversing camera. So reversing cameras shouldn't be live all the time. They should only come on when you put the car in reverse. So we tap into that, and then that black one there, as blacks always are, that is an earth. So we're just going to take those same wires, we're going to cut into the wires up here, and we're going to join it using these. Actually, we'll probably use a different colour one, which is slightly bigger, because we're joining two wires into one. But we're going to use the usual solder joints. I might try, no, we won't get two into there, so I'll use, I think, the blue ones or the yellow ones, as it's two wires going into one, because they won't fit otherwise. So yeah, so we're going to cut the wires up here, green and grey and the black, and then what we do is, just for temporarily, we'll just bring the cable over the top of the car, assuming it reaches, or drop the seats down, bring it in here, and then just join it just to test it. And then once we're happy it works, we can then disconnect it, and then we can just run the cable properly through the car, and we'll run it. So the cables are quite long, but we will run it along here, up the side, along through the back of the seat, and then into the boot, which will then join there. So hopefully the cable's long enough. They normally are. I say I've used these before, and they're normally plenty long enough. So we'll do that. We'll join it up temporarily, and then we'll come back and we'll show you it hopefully working. Okay, I've actually soldered the wires because I tried to push the wires together and because of where they are and the length of the wires and so on, it was difficult to get to. So I've done the permanent soldering. So as you can see there, you've got 2 earth wires, the black wire and the black wire from the lead, the power lead, goes to the black in the loom, and then you've got the red wire and the grey and green wire, which goes to the grey and green wire in the loom. So that's all connected, and then we've taken the power. Here's your camera, little bullet camera. So we've taken the camera, excuse the camera work, try and do all this with one hand. So on the end of the camera you've got that wire. You don't need, apparently you don't need to connect that. I don't know why that is, but you don't need to connect that. There's one on the other end of this lead as well, which you also don't need to connect. So that's your video signal lead, and then that's where your power goes to. So that's the one that goes to the other end of there. So that now should work. So if we just place the camera just there for the time being, and then we go around, switch the car on, put it in reverse, and let's just take my torch off there and turn it off. And then yeah, once we put the car in reverse, then fingers crossed that should just work. Right, so we turn the ignition on and we've powered up the stereo, and we're now going to put it in reverse. So let's see what happens. There it is. Obviously the lines, I don't know what got my foot on the clutch for, the lines go up in the air, but that's because the camera's up in the air, isn't it? Or maybe the camera's upside down. But it works, yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to the back and have a fiddle with the camera and try turning it around and see if those lines go down. And it'd be interesting to know, someone did ask whether, when I posted this on Facebook, someone did ask whether the lines will curve. I don't know is the answer to that. Right, okay, so we have the microphone mounted up there and cable goes behind there, and we have the webcam, keep calling it webcam, dash cam mounted up there. And the cable runs along there, it runs down there, under there. It's cable tied to the to that metal bar just there. We just need to tidy the cables up there. The dash cam, the reversing camera, that's the USB there. I've left that just there because when that's pushed back, that will then be by the fuse box. So if anyone ever needs to disconnect it, it's there and accessible, and you can disconnect it should you ever want to put a new one in, or rather than burying it behind a panel or something. And obviously I will put a little note in. What I do when I install these things and I sell the car, I put the boxes in the boot, and I will explain the fact that that's where it's plugged in and so on. So if it ever needs to be unplugged, changed, if it breaks or you want to change it to a better one or whatever, you can do it. I've installed those vents back in there, but I do have to take the fins off because, of course, you can't control those fins. So the fins actually need to come off. And then when the stereo pushes back, which won't be long now, because I think we've got everything installed now. The only thing I'm going to do on this, which I think that this is an idea of Sean's, Project Aussie. You almost know Sean is now. I mentioned him so often, but we converse all the time by WhatsApp, and of course he's setting this up and sorting everything out on Project Aussie. So it's when I asked him about the camera, and of course he sent me that camera. What he's going to do, and I think I'm going to follow suit, is if I pull that out, like the stock stereo, you've got that bracket at the corner there where it pushes in. And he says because that's quite a tight fit and he's worried about not being able to get it out again if he needs to, he's going to take that bracket off. And I'm going to do the same because it is quite a tight fit within the aperture, so I don't think it really needs to come out. And of course, if someone wants to steal these things, rather than destroying your dash, they could pull it out. It's a bit like don't lock your car, because if someone wants to break into it, they won't smash a window. That's what people used to do. I don't know if they still do, but yeah, it's a tight fit. It ain't going anywhere. It's a tight fit in there, and it doesn't really need to have those. So I'm going to take it off. I don't think he's done it yet, but he's talking about doing it. But I'll probably end up doing it before him, because I think I'm probably at that stage now where I can push it back. But that will come on the next video, not on this one, because we are running out of time on this video now, and we've got to get it uploaded for Sunday. So, okay, so I've kept you on tenterhooks for long enough. You want to know about the price, don't you? So the price for doing all that bodywork. So as you know, as we looked at on the last video, The car was in the body shop for a year and about 4 or 5 days. Yes, a year. If you haven't seen that video, go back, click on that one, watch that one. But yeah, and during that time, so he's basically repaired the rear quarter, cut out the old destroyed sill, put in the new sill that I supplied. He repaired the bottom of that door. Yeah, that's about it. And then obviously done, as I say, the rear quarter, painted the rear quarter, etc., etc. So it's quite a lot of work. As I said in the previous video, I was sort of expecting about £1,000, thinking it was going to be about £1,000, hoping it was going to be around, you know, no more than £1,000, but expecting it to possibly be like 1,500 quid, in which case I would have lost money. The amount that he charged me to do all that work, even though it took him over a year to do it, was, yes, £550. £550. Now, there were loads of guesses on that last video. Some of them said £550, so I don't know if you know him, but that was quite accurate. A lot of people were saying £1,000, £1,500, £700. There were all sorts of amounts you were coming up with, but there were 2 or 3 that said like £500, £550. During that conversation I had with him via WhatsApp, I asked him what the amount was when he told me it was ready, and there was a long pause, and then I got the message from him that said 550 for the white one. And if you all remember, those who've been following me for some time, there was the facelift red one that I did more than 2 years ago, probably getting on for 3 years ago. I can't remember exactly when it was, and I can't even remember the name of it. It might have been Project Henrietta, I'm not sure, can't remember. Anyway, I never paid him for the damage to that car, that other car, and it was quite a lot of damage. He painted a wing and hung the wing. No, he didn't hang the wing, I hung the wing, but he painted a new wing. He'd done rear quarter damage. He painted the back of the car. There was a dent in the boot. He did that. There was loads of work. When I picked the car up, he said, "Oh, I haven't worked it out. I'll let you know." And I asked him 4 or 5 times over the months. Never ever told me. I gave up asking in the end. When I got this message to say 550 for the white one, £650 for the red one. Now you were all saying that's 2 grand's worth of work. There's no way. Laughing, saying when I was sort of expecting 700 or 800 quid, or hoping for 700 or 800 quid, you were all laughing at me. Or a lot of you were laughing at me, saying that's easily 1,500 quid's worth of work, 2 grand's worth of work, and so on. £650. Can't go wrong. Now, whether he's all of a sudden giving me that because he thinks, possibly quite accurately, that I'm never going back there again, due to all this time that I've been waiting, I don't know. But I know a lot of you have asked me on other videos, you've come in on other videos and said, did you ever pay them for their other work? Now I have, so I gave him 550 quid for the work on this and 650 quid for the work on that other one. So at least that's paid for and we're all square now. So that's it for that bit. So we're going to end this video here because it is quite long, this one. It's about 50 odd minutes. So we will end here. We'll finish that stereo and get it all pushed back once everything is doubly tested and the camera's installed and so on and so forth. Roof to do, wheels to do, service, MOT and so on. Still a bit to do, but we'll see you on the next video, and we'll probably do the roof in that one. And of course the cam belt. This is going to be my first cam belt, so we'll have a video all on its own for the cam belt. So that's it. So don't forget, as always, if you're not a subscriber, click on the button, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up. Until next time, thanks for watching, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.